Hi, this is Sarkar, and this is the second part of file handling. So, in the previous part, you have learned how to read from a file, from a text file, how to write to a text file, and how to append to a text file. Also, we have seen various functions such as open, which has different modes, that is R mode, W mode, plus mode, and A mode. So I hope you remember those things. If you don't, please watch the video once again. In short, W stands for write, R stands for read, plus stands for, well, read and write, both. And A stands for append. And remember this thing, whenever we try to open a file with the W mode, whatever is present over there gets deleted. Remember that. So never ever open a file with W mode where you actually want to put more data along with the existing data. Never open it with W mode. Otherwise, all the data that is already present over there will be removed entirely. So use A mode for that if you really want to add something to the existing data. Or if you want to write the whole thing again, then obviously use W mode. And no need to put the R mode because by default the mode is R. That means read. And we have also seen how to work with context managers, that is with is a very important thing because with, it automatically closes the file once you are done with the file. So you have done your work, the file gets automatically closed. And I have also shown you what happens if you do not close the file and you try to access the file with some other application. So let's say you are modifying a file with Python, and at the same time you are trying to open the file with Notepad, with a Notepad or some other application in your computer. Your application will either crash or it will show that the resource is currently handled by some other application. So well, I can't do anything about it. So files, camera, microphone, whatever, these things are actually called resources in computers. And resources are like real world objects. So let's say there are two kids and there is one ball. If one kid goes and takes the ball, the another kid will not be able to play with the ball. In order for that kid to play with the ball, the first kid must place the ball back, and then the other child will take the ball up. Okay, so this is the condition. And if something happens, I'll also go greater detail later on. And there is a concept called deadlock, which is a crazy topic. I'll definitely cover it. And by the way, it's a bonus. I will definitely include it in this lecture also. So what are deadlocks and all those stuffs? It is a very very interesting topic. I will show you in this video. And okay, coming back to my point. So we have seen all these stuffs. We have seen write line, write, read lines, all those methods which are very very useful for handling txt files. Now there is a problem with txt files, and that is txt files sometimes don't make a lot of sense. Like let's say if you have installed a game, if you have ever installed a game, especially the crack version from the torrent, you have seen a file called readme, readme. You have seen that file. So in that file there are millions of instructions how to use the game, what to do, what are the settings and advanced settings, all those stuff, how to handle the graphics and all those stuff, right? So that point of time, text files are useful. Or if you want to provide some lengthy information, instruction, or in fact let me tell you this thing. If you have ever installed some software from torrent or maybe some other place, or maybe from a cd or a pen drive or wherever, you must have seen a file called license. In the license file there are legal information present over there. In those cases where you are providing the user some lengthy data, okay, some paragraphs, some text and all those stuff, in those cases text files are very good. But in cases of structured data, I repeat once again, in cases of structured data or data which you are going to process later on to make something different, well, text files are not that efficient. So let's say we have text files. Let's say we have 5 text files, and each one of them has 3 lines. 3 lines, and we are going to conduct this experiment in the Python shell itself. So definitely, but I'm just giving you the overview. So let's say there are 5 text files, and each one of them has 3 lines. First line contains the name, second line contains the phone number or the mobile number, and the third line contains the country the person belongs to. So this is the information present over all the 5 files. So let's say in the first file, it's my file. So the first thing is Shodhip Sarkar. The next line will be my phone number, and the third line will be India. Let's say that the next text file is like is a dir list text file. So inside dir list text file, the first name is Durley. Then the next line contains the phone number, and the third line contains Columbia. So in this way, there are 5 text files, each one of them having 3 lines. First line containing name, second line containing phone number, and the third line containing the country the person belongs to. Okay. Now, is this useful? I will say no, because you have to open every file to see the data. Like I want to access the data of this guy, so I have to open it. I have to access the data of this guy. I have to open it once again. I have to open. It continues. But you don't want to access like that, right? Uh, if you have used Excel or spreadsheets, Microsoft Excel, right? You have used it, right? So in Excel, do you check individual data? No. There is a table. There is a table, and there are columns: name, phone number, country, and under these, there are different data. So each of the row there is a data. So let's say you have 3 columns in a table. So there is a table, big table, and there are 3 columns. Columns means these vertical separations. Okay. So there are 3 columns. First one is name, second one is phone number, and the third one is country. Okay. Now, in the first row comes your data. So let's say it's me. So in the first row, under the name, it's Shubhadeep Sarkar. Under the phone number, it's my phone number. And under the country, it's India. In case of Durley, the first, it's the second row because it's the second person. So it's the next row. First row is completed. Now coming to the second row, the first column under the name will be Durley. The second column under the phone number, it's her number, and the third column, it's a country, Columbia. Okay. So that's how Excel works, and that actually makes people's lives easier, right? You can see the data, and you can also visualize the data. You can take it and make a pie chart of it, and want to see. And let's say if I want to see how many people are from India, how many people are from other countries, how many people are from US, I want to make a big pie chart out of the data. So we can also make pie charts and all those stuffs, definitely. And I'm going to show you how to do these things. Maybe I'll not cover the pie chart section this time, but I'll definitely go to pie charts when teaching you advanced topics, for sure. But for now, we're going to focus on Excels. Why Excels are necessary? Because we can visualize, or we can see a lot of data without opening individual files. So all the data is containing into one place. So let's say you are running a school, you're the principal of the school, and you want to see how many students have got above 70% marks. You won't take a single report card of every student and we'll see, okay, so this student has 70%. Okay, you keep it and take another student's report card and see it. Okay, so this student has 70%. You won't do this, right? Because this will take a long time, literally long time. Because let's say if there are 100 students, you have to open 100 grade files to check if the student has got above 70% or not, right? In those cases, you will maintain a table. Every table will have the name of the student and the marks he has got. So there you can easily just look up and down and check, okay, so this guy is 70, this guy is 70, this guy is 70, okay, done. So that's how it makes things faster. It makes things easier for humans. Now, the direct way of converting text files to Excel files are pretty complicated, and I don't want you to complicate things. I want you to keep it as simple as possible. Okay. So first, what we are going to do is we are going to take the data from the text files. Which text files? The text files which contains 3 lines, all those stuffs, right? We're going to take that. Now we're going to take that data and make a CSV file of the data. Now what are CSV files? In the last video I have explained CSV files are comma separated value files. So just now I said there are 3 columns: name, phone number and country. So these 3 will be separated by a comma: name, comma, phone, comma, country. Okay, so there will be 2 commas. Why? Name, comma, phone, comma, country. Okay, now let's say in case of me it's Shodip Sarkar 700347098. It's my phone number, and then India. So it will look something like this: Shodip Sarkar, comma, my phone number 700347098, comma, India. That's how the information will be represented. It's just like a table. It is just like a table, but in table things are separated by columns and rows, right? You see that long lines, long vertical and horizontal lines that cut. Okay, so the vertical lines represent columns and the horizontal lines represent rows. This is the case of spreadsheets or databases and all those stuffs. But in case of CSV files, the columns are separated by a comma. So there is no line, there are commas, and the rows are separated by new line. So every new line is a single data. So in case of mine, my data will be a row, your data will be a row, his data will be a row. So it's a row, it's a single line. And in my data, the information, that is my name, my phone number, my country, these will be separated using a comma in the same line. So this is CSV files. Now CSV files are very lightweight. It is actually more lightweight than Excel files, because Excel files are a lot more powerful and you can do a lot more things with them as compared to CSV files. However, CSV files are very useful in order to convert the data into Excel files. Into Excel files. So you take there are 3 steps. You take the text file, you take out the data magically, you make a CSV file. Now you convert the CSV file into Excel file. So there are 3 steps: text to CSV to Excel. So there are 3 steps. Remember this. We're gonna do this together, and in this video we're gonna learn 2 new libraries or modules. What are those? Those are the first thing you're gonna learn is Pandas. Not the whole thing, because Pandas and NumPy, it's a big thing. I will definitely try to teach you later on in some other class, not this one, because the concept or the motive of this class is to not teach you Pandas or NumPy, because they are itself very large. So that's not the point. The point is to work with the very specific features of Pandas. And the another thing you're going to learn is OpenPy Excel. I repeat, OpenPy Excel. So open source, that means it is free. Py, that means Python, and Excel, that is Microsoft Excel. So these 2 libraries are going to use. Now you can directly use OpenPy Excel, but that will complicate things a lot. This is the reason I am first converting the text into CSV, then converting the CSV into Excel using Pandas. That makes lives a lot easier. You have to write a lot less codes as compared to using OpenPy Excel. So this is the reason. And okay, so first we will install those modules, because without those modules you won't be able to work. So if you try to work directly, you will need to install Pandas, and after Pandas you have to install OpenPy Excel. Okay, and we're gonna look at it step by step. First, so what are the things we're gonna cover? First, we will see how to write to a CSV file. Okay, the methodology, the basic methodology. You know, the raw methodology, and it's not going to, we are not going to use this a lot. So just to give you a brief idea of how CSV file works. So first we will write in the very basic way to CSV files. Then we will read from that CSV file. Okay, so this is the first step. In the second step, we will write to CSV files in a standard way, the way we actually write things to CSV files. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna read from the CSV file in a standard way. Remember, first one was basic, this one is a standard way. In the third step, we will actually go through the text files in a folder using OS module, and that's one of the most important things to learn in this video. This video is going to be long, okay? As usual, my videos are long, but pretty self-explanatory why I say so much of these things. So, however, you are going to learn OS module, and using OS module you will be able to go through all the files in the folder and take all the files, take all the data from those files, convert it to a Csc file, and convert the Csc file into Excel file. That's our final goal. Let's get started. I hope you will enjoy this video. See you. So first we have to go to the folder where we will actually practice. So let's open the Python terminal. Okay, actually open the command prompt. Now go to the place where we will practice. So we have to go to desktop. Under desktop we have this folder called demo. Under demo we have a folder called practice CSV. Here we will launch our Python terminal. It's not Python, it's Python, and we have it. Now let's maximize this one. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna import a module called CSV. I'm gonna say import CSV. Okay, so we have imported the CSV module. Now once again, a little bit of refreshing. A module is basically a Python file or a folder where you have written different blocks of code. So someone else has written, and you're using the same block of code in your program. So let's say you have a function and it has been written by some other programmer. You can use it in your own file. This is called the module thing. So this contains many different functions. We can check this using dir command, dir CSV. So it has all these different functions. Okay, so dialect, dict reader, dict writer, all these different things. Then this one, oh, okay, and we will see this one right now. So and we will also see this while reading CSV files. So basically, these are all the functions that are inside this thing. So this is the folder, or you can say this is the file which contains all the different functions written by someone else, and you're going to use these in your Python programs. So now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to so we have already imported the CSV module. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mention data that we're going to write. So basically, let's say we want to put the different fruits. So let's say we'll have, let me open the Microsoft Paint thing. Paint. Okay, not Paint actually. I have a better alternative. I have recently installed this one, whiteboard. Yeah. So here we go, whiteboard. Let me open this thing. Yeah, so we have it. And once again, just remove this all. Know what this is? Okay. So let's begin our program. So let's say we will have two things. The first thing is, I don't know where this is coming from. Oh, we really need internet for this one. Just give me a second. Let me connect to the internet. Okay, hotspot on. Just hold on a second, okay? Okay, we have it connecting. Okay, we are done. Okay, so now I guess we are good to go. Now we take the pen and maybe okay. So now it's working fine. So we have two things. The first thing is let's say fruit, Fruit. So the first thing is fruit and the way it tastes. So taste. Okay, so we have this thing. Now let me take the text thing. Is there a text thing available here? Not right now. Okay, it's fine. Not big of a deal. So here let's say we have apple, dude, apple, and you know, my handwriting is really bad. Apple, and the taste of apple is sweet, right? So we write sweet, sweet. It's so difficult writing in mousepad. Ouch. Okay, so our next fruit is let's say orange. So orange, orange, and pardon me for my handwriting. You know, drawing in a mouse pad is really problematic, and the taste of it is sour, right? So we are gonna put the fruits and their tastes in a CSV file. So in a CSV file, these things will be separated with a colon, with a comma. So apple, comma sweet, oranges, comma sour, right? So we're gonna do this using Python. So let's open this thing. Now to do this, we will need a list of list. I repeat, lists of list. And so let's say fruit taste. We have this thing. This is a list. Inside this list, we have different lists. So the first list has apple, sweet, and then we have basically we are grouping the fruit and the taste together. So this is a group, and this is one another group. So orange, sour, and let's say banana. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's say banana, and again sweet. Okay, so we have this thing. So we will write this thing into a CSV file. How can we do that? So the first thing we will do is what we have already done. Open a file. Simple. So I will say with, because this is the best practice. So with open, mention the oh damn. With open, mention the name of the file. So let the file be data, or simply fruit data dot csv, and remember to add this thing dot csv, otherwise it won't really work. At least in Windows it won't work, remember that. So fruit data dot csv, and open this in write mode. Why? Because you're gonna write to it, and it does not exist, so there's no question of appending to it. So you have to open it in write mode as file. And if you have confusions regarding this with statement, please go back to the next video, to the previous video and watch it. Okay. So inside this, here starts the new things. We say something called CSV file. So we are letting the computer know that, well, this file is a CSV file, and I'm gonna write to it. Okay, I'm gonna write to it. I'm letting it know. So I'm gonna say CSV dot writer, basically this thing, writer. This is a function. So CSV dot writer inside this, and where I am going to write file, this thing. I mean fruit data.csv, right? Because this thing is stored inside file. So we're passing this. That means we are passing this CSV file. So we are saying CSV file equals to csv.writer file. That means we are telling Python to write whatever we give into this file. Okay, so basically that's what we are doing. After this line, you will say csv file dot write rows. Again, you may find this over here. Okay, it's not present over here. Anyways, so yeah, write rows. Inside write rows, you will say something like this. Data, not this one. Basically, you will pass this one, fruit test. Control C, Control V, and we're done with this. So basically, this line means that so we have our file, and our file is not this one. Okay, this is not our file. This is a simple file, and we are telling the computer um, to make this a CSV file, and this is how we can create a CSV file. So we are saying that we are going to create a CSV file where we are going to write, and the file is present inside this. So we are saying CSV file, that means this thing, CSV file dot write rows fruit test. What is fruit test? This one over here, this whole thing. Now let's see what happens. Now let's see if it worked or not. So let's close this thing, open the demo folder, open this practice CSV folder, and there you have it, fruit data.csv. Wow, it works. So let's open this. um so open this with simple notepad. So here we go. Wow, we have the thing: apple sweet, orange sour, banana sweet. So we have our data just like this. Okay, apple sweet, orange sour, banana sweet, and all of them have been written into a CSV file like this. So this is a CSV file, and this is a valid CSV file. Remember that. So congratulations, you have created your first CSV file. You have written to the CSV file as well. So again, just a little bit of refreshing. But what do we do? First, we import the CSV module. Here we imported the CSV module. Then we opened a file just like we do simply. After this, we mentioned that the file has to be CSV file, and we are going to write to the file. After that, we said write this thing to the CSV file. That's why we said CSV file dot write rows. Now, do you understand what write rows are? So row is basically, okay, let me show you this. Let me open this once again. So each of them is a row. This is a row, this is a row, this is another row. Okay, so each of them is a row. So we said write rows, and then we passed this thing over here. Okay, this thing. So when it takes this thing, this group becomes the first row, this group becomes the second row, this group becomes the third row. So that's how the basic writing to a CSV file works. Okay, so that was it. Now we will read from the same file. How to read from this file we will see right now. So again, we have to open the file, but in read mode right now. So we say with open, again the name of the file. So we'll say fruit data.csv. Do not provide any mode because by default it is in read mode. This file, and you say CSV file. Again, you're letting the computer know that this is a CSV file, and you're also letting the computer know that we're going to read from it. So reader. So this was writer because we were writing to the file, and this is reader because we are reading from the file. This is the main difference. So inside this pass the same thing. There's not much difference. Now the thing is that this is a group, right? So basically this is a list, and this list contains two elements, right? Two elements. So if we want to store two, a list into different separate variables, let me show. Let me open up another terminal, Python, and now if I say we have something called dog and cat, and this list's name is animal. Have this. Now if I just say animal, it will give me this. But if I say animal 1 comma animal 2 equals to animal, so what happened is that this thing gets broken into two pieces. So this part gets divided, this part gets divided. So dog goes into animal 1 and cat goes into animal 2. This thing is called unpacking. So you are unpacking. So basically this is a container and you are basically unpacking each of the item. So now if I print animal 1, see it has dog, animal 2, it has cat. So I have broken the whole list into two pieces, dog and cat. The first element goes into animal 1, the second element goes into animal 2. So this is called unpacking. Okay, we are going to do the same thing. This CSV file has two elements, the fruit and the taste. So we can divide it in two parts. Yes, so let's divide this. So we can say fruit comma taste equals to, okay, not this one, just hold on. So we have a file. Now what we're going to say that for row in file, csv file, actually csv file. Okay, so for row in csv file, that means for every row in csv file, break the row into two pieces, fruit and taste. Okay, break the row into two pieces, fruit and taste, because every row contains two things, the name of the fruit and the taste of the fruit. So we are breaking this into two different pieces, separating them and putting them into two different variables. Remember that. So we have broken this successfully. Now we are going to say that um, print as a string fruit tastes taste. Let's print it out. Okay, there's something wrong with this file. So what I noticed is that there is some problem with this CSV file, and this problem is specifically related to Windows only. So if you are a Linux user like me, then you won't have a problem. But if you are a Windows user, look at this very carefully. Let me open the CSV file once again, and let me show why it's not working. So let me show you. Basically I had created another file using Windows, this operating system, and another one using Linux. So this one is the Linux. Okay, so I am showing you the difference here. Just let me open this one. So open with Notepad. See, as you can see in this file, everything is perfectly fine, right? Like let me make this a little bit bigger. So yeah, in this file there is everything all okay, right? But in this file, let me open this one. This is from Windows. Let me show you the difference. Here is the difference, guys. Can you notice it? Let me open another file. Yep. So as you can see that the Windows one has spaces between the rows. So there is a space here and there is another space here. But in case of this CSV file, there are no spaces, right? It's all together. Okay, again I'm showing you, this is the Windows file where we have spaces between the rows, and this is the Linux file which do not have any spaces. So if you are a Windows user, you have to modify your code slightly, or if you are if you are a Linux user or some other operating system user, you won't have to worry. So why it's giving you error? So let me open the command line once again, run it, and so let me go to the directory where we have these files, desktop slash demo slash practice dir. So this one is the Windows one. Okay, so what happens if I try to read from this file? So Python, start the interpreter, and now import CSV. Now open the file. So with open, and you put the name, put data 2 dot CSV, close the bracket as file. Now you have to say that CSV file equals to reader. Oh, okay. CSV dot reader. So I just explained what it's doing. Okay, it's the same thing, right? You're basically saying that you want to read this file as a CSV file. Okay, you're mentioning to the Python interpreter. That's what you're doing. So CSV dot reader, and you are putting the name of the variable where the file is stored. So basically, this thing is stored inside this thing. This is the reason you are passing this thing and not this thing. Okay, so now just open this one and now say for and you can, and there are two ways of doing this. One is that you break it in a traditional way, like you can say like row in CSV file. You can do like this, or you can break it here, but I'm showing you the simple process first. So for row in CSV file, that means it will go over all the rows of the CSV files. That means our data. So for every row, let me maximize this one. So for every row, we are gonna print the value. So we're gonna say print, and there will, okay, before printing, we need to break it, right? Like last time. So there are two things: the name of the fruit and the taste of the fruit. So fruit, comma taste equals to row, right? This one. Now you break it into two pieces. Now you trying to print this one. So print, and so basically let me just print the values individually. So fruit and taste together, and print this right now. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. All good, all good. This file over here. Okay, this is the file. Perfect. Okay, so just remove this underscore and it's gonna work. Yeah, okay. Now see the error. It says value error, not enough values to unpack. Expected to got 0. Now what's happening? Notice that the first row has been printed, apple and sweet, right? The first row of this file. Um, so we have the first data over here, apple and sweet. See, as you can see here, apple and sweet, right? But then we have a blank. Okay, we have a blank. So that means there are not two values. There are, there are actually 0 values. As you can say, as you can see that it expected two values. Let's escape this one. Okay, so it expected two values, but it got 0 values. So as you can see, there is a blank over here. this line after Apple Suite, this line has a blank. That means it has no values, zero values. So this is the reason it's not printing it out, right? Because here we are saying fruit comma taste equals to row. Okay, so that means we are assuming that this row has two data. Okay, we are assuming that the row has two data, and for the first line this condition satisfies. For the first line, that means this line, the condition satisfies perfectly because it has two values, 1, 2. But in case of the next line, the condition does not satisfy. Okay, because there are zero values and we are trying to break a zero between, between two halves, right? It is not possible. It is not possible. You cannot break something that is zero. You can break something that is 2, that is 4, but you cannot break zero, right? So this is the reason it is giving you error. But the same thing if you are doing for Linux, it won't give you error because while writing to the file in Windows, what's happening is it's putting a new line. It's putting a new line. That means it is putting a slash n. It is putting a slash n after every line. So I can show you if I just open this file as a txt file. Let me just open this one. So with open. Okay. Let me just repeat the statement once again. Okay. And I'm saying that file dot read. Let's see what it gives us. As you can see here, notice very closely, it says Apple Suite, right? And then it gives a new line. That's perfectly fine because after all, we have to go to the next row. For that, we need to put a enter after that, right? So you must put a enter after this one. This is the reason this slash n is coming. But after this slash n, there is another slash n. You can notice this. That means put Apple Suite, hit enter once again, put orange sour, hit enter, go to the next row and hit enter once. So we have to remove this extra blank line here. So we have to remove this extra blank line here. Now, obviously, the better way of doing this is to remove it while we are writing to the file in the beginning, very beginning, because later on, removing this will be more complicated. So why not remove it when we are actually writing to the file? Because this is an error in Windows. It puts two new lines instead of one. So basically, this means Apple Suite, hit enter. So go to the next row. But after going to the next row, it puts another new line. That means skip the line. So that's what happening here. In case of Windows, it's putting this. Then the computer hits enter. And then it again hits enter. This is the reason there is a blank here. It goes to the next line. It puts the value. Then it hits enter. Goes to the next row. And then it again hits enter. Let me show you this one. See this, there is a cursor blinking here. That means there is a blank line here. There is also a cursor blinking here. But if you just okay, there is a blank line here, there is a blank line here as well. So we don't want that. Now how to solve this issue with Windows? So what we can do instead, while writing to the file, we have to specify this one. So how do you write to a file? Let me show you. With open. Okay, and actually just hold on. With open and not the help, just look at the options. CSV dot writer. See what's happening. So as you can see, it gives you how to use CSV, right? Now let me show you another interesting thing. Okay, so now I have to show you another thing. Help and now you say open. Now see what happens. So now notice this keyword argument. Okay, new line equals to none. But in case of Windows, we have to modify this because, just let me quit this one, because Windows is saying new line equals to /n. So this is what Windows is doing. This is the reason. We are getting this. Not this one. Not this one. Don't save the changes. Where is the file? Okay. So this is the reason we are getting a blank space over here, because it says for every new line, just leave it blank. So we don't want that, right? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to change this to be a blank. Okay, a blank, not a new line, a blank. So it means every new line, you don't do anything, as simple as that. Okay, now let's see what happens if we do this. So we have to remove the new line over here. We don't want uh we don't want to skip the new line. Okay, we don't want to skip any line. This is the reason we have to remove the /n. Let me show you in a practical way, and that way you can understand better. So let's say open, and this is the case with CSV files only. Don't do this in case of text files. Okay, remember that. Now let's say with, and again open the file once again. Okay, there is a data over here. Okay, not data. So what's the data over here? Okay, just remove this. So data equals to, we have two things, right? We have apple, and the taste of apple is sweet, and we have oranges. Okay, not oranges. Okay, orange, and the taste is sour, right? Okay, so the taste is sour. Just let me put a bracket over here. Okay, now we are done with this. Now we're going to write this to CSV files just like we did last time. So again, open the file with write mode. This time we open the file in write mode because we're going to write to the file. So put a W here. Now inside this, what you do is, okay, just remove the reader with the writer, and that's the only change you have to do. Now just do another thing, CSV file dot write rows. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put a enter over there. New line, I'm sorry. Just change this one, put a new line over here. So new line equals to blank. Now let's see what happens. Again, same thing, repeat, writer, and then csv file dot write rows, and just put the data. That means, this thing. Just put the data here over here and write it. Now let's see what did we get. So open this once again. Aha! And here's our result. We did it successfully, guys. So what happened is, this time Windows didn't put a new line over there. Okay, it didn't do anything literally. This is the reason we didn't get any new line over here. We didn't get any blank line over here because we removed the blank, or we can say new line character. That is, we changed new line equals /n to simply just remove the n. So we left it blank, and this is the reason Uh, Now we can read it just like we can read in Linux. So again, open the file, do this thing. I'm not explaining because I have already explained what I'm doing. So again, for row in CSV file, I don't know what this weird thing is. Okay, just remove this thing. Let me just remove this thing. Windows is actually very shitty. I hate Windows. Anyways, just remove this one. CSV so for row in CSV file, fruit comma taste equals row, right? So you break it into two pieces. Now what we're going to do is print, and definitely we're going to pass a f string, format string, and we're going to say fruit. What the hell is this? Print, and f inside this just put this thing and say fruit tastes, again taste. This should work properly. Close this. Let's see what happens. And wow, we have our CSV output. So what's happening here, guys? What's happening? Basically, the first step is you are opening the file in read mode. Then you're saying that you want to read this file, right? And in case of CSV, you have to mention this, that csv.reader. You have to put this thing. Now you are starting a for loop. That means you're going through every row inside the file. That means every row, this one, okay? You're going every row, and then you are breaking the row into two pieces. That is the name of the fruit and the taste of the fruit. Then you are printing it as the name of the fruit, put a S, tastes, put the taste, and that's what's happening. Apple, S, taste, sweet, orange, S, taste, sour. That's our basic reading of CSV files. So now you know how to write to CSV and read from CSV in the very basic manner. This is the basic way of writing and reading from and to CSV file. But now what I'm going to show you is the standard way and actually used while working with CSV files. And this way actually is much more important and much more useful than this way. So just look very closely. So now you might ask that why are we learning a new way? So let me tell you this thing. This data, this data is not a meaningful data, right? It's is it meaningful? Because what's apple? What's apple? What's a sweet? What's orange? What's sour? Right? These data are raw data. They don't make any sense, right? So let me give you a scenario. Let's say you're a teacher and you teach hundreds of students, right? And you want to store their information like student's name, their roll number, their marks, their student ID, all these stuffs, right? Um, but there are hundreds of students. Now, if you do something like this, let me do this one. So let's say you do like Subhodeep, and then you say 60, 12, and then you do something like this. You put another data like this, Swarnali 67, okay, 56, 34. Now if I ask you, can you differentiate between the marks and the roll number? Can you? You can't. If I ask you what's the ID, can you tell me? No. Maybe you can guess the name, that okay, this is the name, but What is the marks? Is this the marks or is this the marks? Same goes for this thing. So these don't make any sense, right? So just go back and think once which data structure of Python makes data into a meaningful version. Okay, just think. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's dictionaries. So in case of dictionaries, we can say that this is the name, this is the student ID, this is the marks he has got in this exam, this is that, this is that. We can say that we can create meaningful data. So in case of this, okay, this is valid, but this does not make any sense. But in case of this, if I have something like this, and here I say like name, okay, name and Subhodeep marks 60, roll number, and here we say, not this one. So here we say 16, 15. Okay. So here suddenly this makes sense, right? We now know that this is the name, this is the marks, and this is the roll number. We can identify each of the data with a key. Remember, when I taught you dictionaries, I told that dictionaries are great when you need to organize something. You need to count something, you need to organize something, you need to work with extensive amount of meaningful data. That's when dictionaries come into place. Now you can differentiate that, well, this thing is a roll number, this thing is marks, this thing is a name. Now suddenly it starts to make sense, right? So in a dictionary, we identify every value. What is the value here? These are the values. I'm sorry. These are the values. Whatever is there after this column, these are the values, right? And how do we identify the values? We identify the values using a key. Using a key, right? So what are the keys? This is the key, this is the key, this is the key. In case of okay, again, Windows is so weird, dude. Okay, in case of this one, we had to identify 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So it really doesn't make any sense. But in this case, what we will do is we will make a list of dictionaries. Why list of dictionaries is required? So a list can contain many data, and a dictionary can contain meaningful data. So if we have 100 students, every student will have their data inside a dictionary, and all those dictionaries will be present in a single list. That's why we need a list of dictionaries, right? So let me give you an example. So let's say we have this list, data equals to, let's start the list. Now the first data inside here is the name, not this one, name, not again name, and we have my name, and then we have, let's say, marks, and let's say I got 80. Okay. So that's one data, right? That's one data. Similarly, we have another data, we have another information, right? So this is another student, again, name. See, this thing remains the same, the key remains the same. In every dictionary inside the list, all the keys will be same, only the values will change, right?